thank all of you for coming today, and I thank all of my colleagues for being here. Not only my Senate colleagues, but our House colleagues as well, reflecting the strong bipartisan, bicameral commitment to this nation that we favor the kind of comprehensive approach to immigration reform which cries out for security here at home, cries out for fairness and justice in the workplace, and cries out for recognizing the millions of individuals who were drawn here to the United States by the magnet of economic opportunity and now want to be a part of the American dream. And the challenge for us is to find the pathway which that can be achieved and accomplished. I often think of this immigration, this issue of immigration in the way that so many of those that are here today that are representing the great faiths think of it. Because at the bottom of this whole debate and discussion, this is a moral issue. It's a moral question, deeply moral. It's about how we're going to relate to each other, how we're going to think of each other, how we're going to care for each other, and how we're going to treat each other. That is basically. And the Bible teaches us, one of my very favorite provisions in the Bible is Matthew 25, when the good question that is put by the Lord is, when have you done it for the least of these? When was it that you fed me? When did you give me to drink? When did you clothe the naked? When did you welcome the stranger? When did you visit the imprisoned? And if you look, you can find throughout the Bible the references to those that have been left out and left behind. The great lines of Leviticus, which teaches us the alien living with you must be treated as one of your native born. Love him as yourself, for you were aliens in Egypt. Today we're honored by Reverend Samuel Rodriguez, who's president of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, America's largest Hispanic evangelical organization, serving 10,000 Hispanic evangelical churches with 15 million members. Richard Land, Dr. Land, who's president of the Southern Baptist Convention's Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. We thank both of them for being here. We thank Reverend Gilberto Velez, who's a senior pastor of Mercy Church, one of the largest Hispanic congregations in the U.S. in Laredo, Texas. Before hearing, I'll ask if my colleagues, Ken Salazar, Bob Menendez, and Lucy Graham, could say a word, and then we could hear from Luis Gutierrez and Jeff Flake. And Jeff, we thank you very much for being here, and we'll hear from our...
Thank you, Monsignor Ted. That was very impressive. Our borders are broken and our employment system does not work. And the key to this is not having a broken Congress. Our Congress is broken right now on many issues, but I see hope. I am more encouraged than I've ever been on this particular issue that the Congress is coming together with help from the administration to create some legislation that will make America safe, secure, and we can still say at the end of the day that we're American. Now, an American is not a race, creed, color, religion, national origin. American is an idea. One of the ideas we all embrace is respect for the law. There is a way to hold people accountable for breaking the law and still have a just result. Because if the law doesn't render justice, then what good is it? So the goal here is to make people right with the law, but at the same time not change who we are as Americans. People have come across the borders illegally to make their life better. They have, in many occasions, made our lives better by doing things that is hard to get other Americans to do. So the win-win here is to get people right with the law, to secure our borders for national security reasons, to have an employment system employers can understand, and to give people a chance to share in the American dream that is possible only if the Congress will come together and make it so. I'll make a prediction. We will solve this immigration problem in a comprehensive way with Republicans and Democrats and the White House embracing comprehensive reform, underlying a sense that we still understand that no one group owns being in America.
I want to first say thank you to all of my colleagues, both Democrats and Republicans in the United States Senate that have stayed with this issue. As you know, last year we had a coalition of Democrats and Republicans that moved forward to successfully pass a comprehensive immigration reform bill. We now need to take that baton, move it forward, and get us across the goal line and complete the job. I also want to thank Congressman Gutierrez and Congressman Flake for the great work that they have done over the House of Representatives in moving forward on the work that we have done last year, but moving forward in the House of Representatives in a way that I think is a very meaningful reform package that they pulled together. And also the involvement in the last several months of the White House and the secretaries of several cabinets have been involved with us in a dialogue on how we might be able to move forward with a comprehensive immigration reform package. Let me just say two things about the package as I see it. The first is that at the end of the day, we need to have comprehensive immigration reform that secures our borders. We owe that to our country as a national sovereign. And when we look at the days that we are now in post 9/11, we need to know who is in our country. So there is a national security issue that is very much at the heart of this debate. Secondly, there is the issue of making sure that we as a nation are a nation of laws, and that we uphold our laws and we enforce our laws, and we don't look the other way. Too often what has happened over the last several decades is that we have, as a country, looked the other way, and we need to stop that. We need to have laws that are workable and that are enforceable. And thirdly, and the biggest and toughest issue has got to be what we do with the 12 million human beings, and there are human beings who actually live here in America today, and they live in the shadows of our society. They're the people who make our beds in the morning often when we stay at hotels, the people who pick the food that ultimately ends up in our tables. They're the people who will clean the buildings in New York City, California, and Chicago, all across the country, these 12 million people. And that's been the big issue. I think there is consensus that what we need to do is to bring those 12 million undocumented workers out of the shadows and into the sunlight of society. And I pledge that I will work very, very hard with my Democratic and Republican colleagues to make sure that we move forward in a direction that makes that happen. Let me secondly just say that at the end of the day, as both Senator Kennedy and Senator Graham said, there is a moral issue here at stake. When you think about the people who are dying, the people who are suffering, the people who are living in fear in America today, that's not what America stands for. And for us,